you guys? How you guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It is Dana Ray here, and I am back with another word for you guys today. Thank you for everyone who is returning, and welcome to everyone who is new. Half of my channel is about vlogs, half of my channel is about faith, and the other half of my channel is about prophetic words and dreams that the Lord has sent me to share with his people. Today, this is going to be a prophetic word / dream sharing, and a lot of other things that the Lord has been downloading to me. I've been holding on to this word for maybe like 5 days or so because I just didn't know when he wanted me to release it. And also, like, I want to be real with you guys. It's kind of not easy being a voice out here because sometimes, like, people will say or already release like what kind of God gave you to, and it's almost like, well, they already said it, Lord, why I need to say it again? But then, like, the Lord has to always, like, kind of get me in line and say, like, I've sent you to a certain group of people. The people that I've sent to you may not listen to this person. Like, they may not receive from them. They may not see this, but they're going to see what you say and what you post. So it's still important for you to say what I told you to say, no matter if you feel like other people are saying the same thing. And then it's also like, okay, Lord, like, try the spirit by the spirit. It's obviously God's spirit speaking through these people if he's telling other voices the same thing that he's telling me. So also, like, you just gotta, like, kind of get in where you fit in. So that I've been kind of struggling with that here lately too. So yeah, that's also, but I'm not gonna be Jonah. I might be a little Moses sometimes. I might be a little Joshua sometimes, and some other people in the Bible, but I ain't no Jonah now, because I ain't gonna be running like no more. I ran for 30 some years, so this is what it is. So when God tell me to do something, I'm finna do it. So anyway, the title of this word is going to be No Signs of Life, Respect My Team, Check for Open Doors, Idols. Okay, this is a 3, maybe 4-part word. There's a scripture that I don't know if the Lord is going to have me read and expound on in this video, but we'll see once we get there. So I got a little something new too. I have actually written down what it is that I need to say, just so I can keep things in line and in order, and I won't forget anything. And also because sometimes the Lord just is like, turn your camera on and start talking, and other times he may be downloading something at night while I'm asleep or somewhere, and I'll just have to type it all out. So this is one of those times where he has downloaded something and I just have to type it all out. So portion 1 of the word is, I don't even know if it has something to do with the title. Anyway, this is something that the Lord wants me to say. All right, here we go. The very point of you enduring some things is so that the people connected to you won't have to. Your wait and process may be longer so that you can warn and teach those connected to you so that they can get to their thing quicker. Being a leader requires a selflessness that we no longer hear about. It requires a sacrifice that sometimes you have to slow down or go back to teach and help those walking through the same thing God freed you from. You cannot be so focused on your promise being fulfilled that you leave the people who need your help. Don't be so quick to desert the very person God sent you to help because it takes them longer to get ready. You can't have a marriage ministry without being married to the right person. You can't leave the very person ordained to stand beside you to produce the fruit God has placed inside of you. We think we don't need a man or woman, but if marriage is God's plan for you, there's only so far you can go without them. God waited for you. So how can you be so discontent with waiting for them? Who is this really about? This was when God was checking me. Mind you, this piece of the word came from, I was like, God, I'm tired. Like, come on with it. Let's go. I'm ready. Let's go. And then he checked me. All right, let's back to here. So who is this really about? Is this really about you proving that you heard God correctly, or about the soul and the selfless love God has given you for the person he has for you? Would you give up on your child just because it takes them longer to learn to walk than it took you? No. Don't forget your process. Don't forget how God brought you to him. Don't forget how it felt when you first surrendered your entire life to God after running for so long. Don't forget how tender you were, how sensitive you were, how the words spoken to you during those times hit differently. Don't forget how impressionable you were, how you didn't know if the God you learned about in childhood was really God. How God dismantled everything you thought you knew about him only to teach you who he really is. Your spouse needs you not to forget how you felt, because it'll give you the grace needed to support and guide them through the very same process. Your spouse may have it a little bit easier just because of your yes. You are to be happy about that, not envious that their wilderness is shorter or that their process is shorter. Check your heart. That was God checking me. Okay? Then later on he says, and this is because somebody actually had posted under one of my videos talking about, oh, because you ain't, your weight only been a little over a year, you don't know nothing about weight and all of this because I've been waiting 5-10 years, whatever. This was a response to that, okay? The desire to have someone else suffer because you suffered is not from God. The desire to not want a better, easier life for those coming after you is rooted in jealousy and envy. Check your heart. If you're mad that someone else's weight or processes to their marriage is shorter or different from yours, check your heart. Because what you won't do is walk into God's promises with hate, jealousy, and envy in your heart. That's honestly probably why you're still waiting. There is a certain character necessary to bear God's fruit, to receive what he has for you, a character that he can trust. God sees our hearts, and if he cannot trust us with what we have, he will not give us the more. Please make sure your own heart isn't delaying your promise. And I was like, oh, okay, Lord. All right, next part. So this is the part where it says no signs of life. There's no signs of life right now in a lot of our marriage promises. I mean, that little thing, that little heart monitor is on beep. And God always, when I feel like that, God always reminds me of the story of Lazarus. The story that Lazarus was dead for 4 days before Jesus came and resurrected him. He was so dead that no one would ever be able to say that anybody raised Lazarus up from the grave or anything raised Lazarus up from the grave except for Jesus Christ, except for God. That is a lot of what God is doing right now. It has to die so that God can get the glory, because a lot of us don't know how to take our hands off of stuff. So he gonna make sure that nothing that you thought you did caused this thing to happen but him. So that's why it's on life. That's why it died. I was about to say it's on life alert. Not that ain't life alert. I don't even know what the word is, and I work in healthcare, but it's dead. This is why, okay? Your particular process is a result of the specific person you're called to marry, and has the specific fruit that God desires to birth through your marriage. Everything God has allowed us to endure in our lives has set us up to relate and minister to those who are facing or will face something similar. God is intentional. Y'all, this weight is not just about you. Your marriage promise, other people may already be married or may have already received their promise because the weight may not be as heavy, or it was just their time. You can't compare your weight to others, because God may have called you guys to do something that will require more patience, more faith. And these people may not be called to that. They may be called to something local, and you may be called to something national or international. The national or international calling is going to have a longer, more intense process. And neither one is better or nothing than the other. It's just specifically what God has created you and your husband for, or you and your wife for. So stop comparing, baby. If you know that God has a marriage for you, if you know that God has a spouse for you, then you need to be resting and doing what he has told you specifically to do, and not looking at everybody around you and wondering, and being jealous. Baby, your heart ain't right, and you, I don't know where your promise at, but you about to kill it. I don't know where that came from. That wasn't even in my notes, okay? Next part of the word is the part that goes under respect my team. And this comes from a dream. The title actually comes from a song that I heard when I was working out called Respect My Team by Tadashi, Trip Lee, and Lecrae. It's like a rap gospel song. Anyway, I don't got no cussing in it. I don't know if it's real gospel or not. But anyway, when I heard this song, it was the same day that I was like, why is this taking so long? This is whack, blah, 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 blah. And then like I was on the elliptical, I think it was. And then I heard this song and I was like, okay, yeah. Like it got me pumped up. Like, yo, this is work. Like I'm ready to fight for, the promises that God has made for me. I'm ready. Like I'm not playing. You're not finna come and snatch nothing up from me, enemy, or nobody else. Okay. So that's where that part of the title came from. This dream I had on October 20th, 2022. And here it goes. It's some of the pieces of the dream, I don't know, but the Lord has led me to read the whole thing. I am going to leave some names out, but the Lord has led me to read the whole thing. So take it how it goes for whoever it's for. All right. Meaning me and my family, were at what seemed like my sister's graduation from college. We were leaving and getting into an old car and that my cousin was driving. Then we were somewhere and my boy cousin had an afro. Then my other girl cousin was wearing these palazzo pants with the wrong underwear because I could see them through the pants. She had to pee badly and she couldn't just choose the toilet. My other cousin was pregnant, who she is actually pregnant now, and I told her that the baby's name started with an N or an H. She was like, part of it. Then we were talking about traveling, and I knew I was going on a trip soon, but I didn't say anything. I was naming out places that I wanted to go to, and I wrote down here Bora Bora and Bali. And I also had seen some picture of a city or a country in India that was pretty, and that's what sparked the convo. Then at some point I was in a bathroom and I was peeking at some young black guy who seemed to have never used a United States bathroom before. He definitely left a mess and even stopped peeing before he was done. When he came out, I was asking him where he was from and if he'd never used a stall like this, but he didn't say. He actually spoke English though. Then later on, I was with my coworkers from this place that I used to work at called Ortho Carolina, and I had chosen a bathroom for myself. But when I came back to it, some little boy had peed all over the seat. It was a little white boy and his mom, and I was telling him how to clean up after himself with Clorox wipes. Okay. And if you guys don't remember, if you maybe haven't seen the video, there was a video that I posted a while ago that some part of the scripture was saying something about some men peeing against the wall or something. And I was like, I don't really know what this peeing part is about. Or no, some Asian guy, it was a part of a dream, and some Asian guy, I had told him not to pee on the carpet. But God had me read that and I didn't know why. Then later on, God led me to Deani Neves. You guys might know her. She's a voice on YouTube as well. And she had posted a video that said, we just need help sometimes. The Lord had me listen to her video, and she was explaining something very similar to this dream about her little brother like peeing and like leaving a mess. And it was about like how your husband, how you're going to have to, I'll just read it here. But anyway, what this dream that God gave me on the 20th actually like was coinciding with the word that she had given. And I watched this a long time ago. I watched her video a long time ago about it. So it wasn't like I had just watched the video, then God gave me this dream. Like he gave me this dream and now I knew what it meant because he had already clarified what it meant through another voice from him. Amen. All right? We don't listen to everybody. I only watch what God tells me to watch. Okay? So yeah, like this little boy in this dream is also a depiction of the men of God that are coming back to us. They're going to need help. They're going to need help. And some of the things that they're going to need help with is going to be embarrassing to them. But God has built us up and called us to be helpers in this time. And now I'll go ahead and read this other little section that goes along with the respect my team, as well as this dream that I just gave you guys. There are some things that your spouse has gotten themselves into, or some people that they have gotten attached to, that you'll have to clean up after. Their lack of discernment and your heightened discernment will allow you to see what they cannot see. What you've already gone through has been college prep to show them how to navigate what they're going to face. People are going to be stripped from them. People are going to hurt them. God is going to isolate them. And because you've already successfully gone through this, you can support and teach them how to let go and let God. You know God for real, and they just know of God. God is going to use you to teach them who He is by how you treat them, by how you don't respond the way everyone else in their life has, by how you don't leave when they share something vulnerable or make a mistake. Not infidelity. Okay, those who have ears, let them hear. By how you don't yell at them for leaving something on the floor or not being perfect in every area. By how you don't have to try to be their mom, but rather you know when to be quiet and just talk to God about your issues with your spouse instead of talking directly to them. There is a maturity. I was about to choke. That's the devil. There is a maturity needed to properly care for the heart of someone who has been broken. Otherwise, you could be doing more damage. God has not given you anyone to break them down even the more. But that also doesn't mean that you allow them to live at a level lower than God's best for them. He has called you to empower, encourage, teach, and lead your spouse back to Him through your actions and love. Are you ready to stand beside them as they come to know God, while He reveals to them what's inside of them? Are you ready to respond in love and cover their mistakes, insecurities, and shortcomings? Are you ready to protect your union by not sharing your spouse's private issues with anyone but God? You won't be able to talk to people about your marriage if your spouse is of a certain caliber or influence, even if they aren't living in that yet, but God has shown you that's where they'll be. You have to be quiet. You must be careful and wise about what you reveal to people, even in your frustration, because we forget and forgive, but people don't. You don't treat a king the same way you treat a predator. If you haven't watched the video, the last video, this part like does a little tingle in your spirit, you might need to go watch the last video. You don't treat a king the same way you treat a predator. Predators are to be exposed, but kings are to be protected and covered. Are you really ready for a king? What happens when you're ready and the very person destined to join you isn't? You wait. The verses here, Isaiah 64:4. For since the beginning of the world, men have not heard, nor perceived by the ear, neither hath the eye seen, O God, beside thee, what He hath prepared for him that waits for Him. Galatians 6:9. And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. There is a reward for your wait. Do not grow weary. Because if you're feeling anything like I have been feeling for the past week, oh, I've been talking about somebody over it. I'm like, look, I got things to do. I got a ministry. I gotta go. So who else ready? Like, I'm being real with you guys, y'all. But eye has not seen, neither has any ear heard what God has for those who wait for him. Wait on God. Then this song, and I know God brought this song in front of me, and it was really a personal song for me, and I don't really know how I feel about God having me share this song with y'all right now, but I'm gonna just do it anyway. The song is Only Human by Jeffrey Osborne, and this song, I listen to it a lot. First of all, God brought this song before me on YouTube, because I ain't never even heard of Jeffrey Osborne. I mean, I like the old school music, but I ain't never heard of no Jeffrey Osborne. So this song the Lord has had me listening to, and I know that it's about the man that God has for me. So I'm going to read some of the lyrics, and it's when, you know, the Lord is trying to tell me to be patient. When he's trying to tell me, like, you need to calm down and make sure that your heart is right and your mouth is right for the caliber of man I'm bringing you, because the stage that he's going to come to you in, he ain't gonna be able to handle all that mouth and all that, you know, demon crushing stuff that you got going on, girl. Like, you're gonna have to come down and get back to his level and remember how you were when you first came to me. So he gives me this song, and I listen to it and I love it. So the song is Only Human, once again, by Jeffrey Osborne, and here are some of the lyrics. Sensitive, that's what I am. Make no mistake about it. 'Cause little things certainly mean so much to me. Maybe I should tell you that I have my faults and there are no guarantees. Oh baby, can't you see? I'm only human. Don't ask me for too much too fast. I'm only human. I'll be so very careful not to ever hurt you. Next portion. Emotional, that's what I am. Feelings run deep inside me. I trust my heart, and usually it never lets me down. But every now and then, I guess, I lose my way, like people often do. And that just goes to prove I'm only human. Don't ask me for too much too fast. I'm only human. I'll be so very careful not to ever hurt you, baby. You know, I love you. It's easy to see that I do, and I'll always be the best I can. But girl, I'm just the man. So darling, please be patient. If we both believe, we'll make changes as we go. I just want you to know I'm only human. Don't ask me for too much too fast. I'm only human. I'll be so careful with you, baby. I'll be so very careful with you, baby. I didn't even read the whole song. So y'all, a lot of you women, even some of you men, this is your spouse. Like, they are sensitive people. Their heart is so huge, and it has been so damaged, so trampled on by counterfeits, by people, by even some of their families, their loved ones, their friends. Like, they're not perfect people. And yes, they have said yes to God. Yes, they have chosen you. Yes, they have come to you. Some of you, they've already come. Some of you, they are right around the corner, like I keep saying. And I know, I be like, God, right around the corner mean right around the corner. Where say you just had me say this the other day. But trust me, they're so close, and you need to handle them with care. Go listen to this song, y'all, Only Human by Jeffrey Osborne, because some of y'all, just like me, you're a little rough around the edges, and you need to be snatched in, because there is a love that God is wanting to exude through you to his son or his daughter that he is sending to you. Love. You have to be in a place where you understand and you remember how God loved you and what you needed in those times. God was that love for us in those times, but he has built us up so that we can be that love for these men and women. This is even for prodigals, like prodigal women, people, whatever, whoever left God and is coming back in this time. They need love. They are sensitive. They are very emotional. They are impressionable. I don't care how they depict themselves to be on the outside. This song is letting us know what is really in their hearts. Also, it's God saying, yes, he said that these things in these marriages are coming together quickly, but these people are still human. You might be ready to roll quick, but baby, they're going to have a little bit of, be patient with them. They will get it. They will get there. You can't force it on them. They are not where you are. They may still be drinking milk and you are on neck bones. Be careful with the people that God is sending you in the form of your spouse and divine connections, or the people that are coming back to God in this season. Be careful with them. All right, that was part 1. Part 2. Part 3. Oh, yes. Y'all might not like this part, y'all, but y'all know it always be a little something in my video that y'all don't like. Because y'all don't like some of y'all don't be liking the truth. But I'm going to give it to you because that's why we're here. All right, part 3 is the title part that says, Lord, what did I write it at? Check for open doors, idols. All right, and this comes from, I really had some concern when I kept hearing people say that the Lord showed them their spouse and it's been 10 years and still. And I just that ain't rest well with me. I'm like, God. So this is what I wrote, actually. I don't know when I wrote this, because I stopped writing dates at the end of this book, but it was recently. It was this week probably. It says, God, why have some people said they know their spouse and waited 10 plus years? It just doesn't seem like you. Can you help me understand? That's what I asked God. He sent me straight to Isaiah 44. And I wrote, they made a graven image and worship it. And then I have, in parentheses, graven images. He allowed me to see graven images 4 times right after I asked him that question. And I said, when God, because some stuff I'd be like, maybe it ain't for me to know. Maybe it ain't none of my business. But I really was concerned, because I'm like, I can't imagine waiting for you showing me somebody and waiting for them for 10 years. When you showed me that it's my spouse. So that's what he said. That's what he said, why some folks is out here waiting for 10 plus years. I don't even know if this is the person he showed you or not. I don't know. You need to seek the Lord. Anyway, I'm going to read Isaiah 44, the NIV version. We're going to start at verse 9. All who make idols are nothing, and the things they treasure are worthless. Those who would speak up for them are blind. They are ignorant to their own shame. I'm going to read that again. Those who speak up for them are blind. They are ignorant to their own shame. Who shapes a god and casts an idol which can profit nothing? People who do that will be put to shame. Such craftsmen are only human beings. Let them all come together and take their stand. They will be brought down to terror and shame. The blacksmith takes a tool and works with it in the coals. He shapes an idol with hammers. He forges it with the might of his arm. He gets hungry and loses his strength. He drinks no water and grows faint. The carpenter measures with the line and makes an outline with the marker. He roughs it out with chisels and marks it with compasses. He shapes it in human form in all its glory, that it may dwell in a shrine. He cut down cedars, or perhaps took a cypress or oak. He let it grow among the trees of the forest. or planted a pine, and the rain made it grow. It is used as fuel for burning. Some of it he takes and warms himself, but he kindles a fire and bakes bread. But he also fashions a god and worships it. He makes an idol and bows down to it. Half of the wood he burns in the fire. Over it he prepares his meal. He roasts his meat and eats his fill. He also warms himself and say, "Ah, I am warm. I see the fire." From the rest he makes a god his idol. He bows down to it and worship. He prays to it and says, "Save me, you are my God." They know nothing. They understand nothing. Their eyes are plastered over so they cannot see, and their minds closed so they cannot understand. No one stops to think. No one has the knowledge or understanding to say, "Half of it I use for fuel. I even baked bread over its coals. I roasted meat and ate. Shall I make a detestable thing from what is left? Shall I bow down to a block of wood?" Such a person feeds on ashes. A deluded heart misleads him. He cannot save himself or say, "Is this not thing in my right hand a lie?" Check for open doors. If in any way you have come into agreement with New Age practices, you have an open door and you have been led to deception, and you cannot even see that you have been deceived, and you are holding on to a promise that the New Age gave you that you have not rightly addressed and let go of, and you're going to try to come up here and bring it into the prophetic. The prophetic is of God. New Age is of the idols. God, y'all, you better know God and know his character. Because I was like, this don't sound like you, God. You telling nobody that that's their husband or that's their wife and wait for 10 years. And they over there looking at this person and can see this person, and 10 years later, still it's around the corner, still. Like, no, God is a God of performance. Where did you get the initial promise from? Because the enemy looks a lot. Tarot sounds a lot like the prophetic, but it is delusion. It is incorrect. The source is Satan. Our source is God. If you still have open doors, you still around here talking about something or somebody is spiritual, what spirit? Because Satan comes with spirits too. The only spirit that we need to be talking about is the Holy Spirit. There's one God. He does not need help. The only way to him is through Jesus Christ and nothing else. If you have an open door with crystals and tarot and zodiac signs and all of that, like you're setting yourself up for delusion, and then you're going to come around here and say the prophets are lying when you have an idol in your life and you don't even know where it came in at, and you don't even realize that you still have the door open. But you around here screaming about other people who have chosen God only, who are about to walk into their promise, and you're going to watch them and you're still going to wonder why you're waiting. Check your life. Check for open doors. Ask God. You need to go on your face before him and ask him to reveal what you have come into agreement with that is not from him. There is so much delusion and deception going on right now within the Christian faith. And the enemy loves you lukewarm people who got some of his sage, and then you got the Bible over here too. All right. And you're going to be watching every single person who has chosen only God receive what you thought was your promise. God has a promise for you, but you will not get it if you have not only chosen God. He is not giving you his stuff to be confused and in delusion. Also, the enemy is the author of confusion. God is the author of clarity. If you don't know who said what, there's an open door that you have let some type of compromise into your life. God speaks clearly. And there's no, was that the devil or was that God? No, that means that you ain't all the way. You need to open your Bible. You need to do some fasting and praying. And you need to ask God to reveal some things to you. Because just like he's speaking to us, he's open and waiting to speak to you guys in your dreams and everything too. If you're not taking what he's giving you seriously, you just having a dream, you're not writing it down, you're not asking him what it means, then he gonna stop giving you the dreams. And I already told you guys something about this earlier. Fired up now, because don't be having us who on the right track thinking that that's something we did wrong when there's an idol. God gave you this promise or this thing, and then you wanted to do something else with it too, instead of just using it for what he gave it to you for. That's what the word was saying. You gonna go and start worshiping it, and he gave it to you for food? All right. Yeah, and then you're going to keep blaming God. And he's going to sit right there looking at you. Like, all right, well, once you let that devil go, then maybe we can talk about your promise. Get to know God for yourself, and then he'll teach you his character. And you'll be able to recognize what kind of things are not from him and what kind of things are. And he'll let you in on the secret things if you ask him, if you can handle it. I love you guys. And for the first part of the video, like, y'all, we got work to do. Don't be weary in well doing. If God has said something, it is coming to pass. You guys some of us need to soften up in greater preparation for these men that he's bringing us, because we have become, independent women. We have become strong, and we have become, sometimes you get so on the bones that you may forget a little bit when you were on milk. But the man of God that he's sending some of us, they're going to just be on milk. So we're going to need to steward them properly, because we do not want to be hurting or squandering, God's gift to us, because we didn't do the work. The person that God has for you is worth the wait. Don't leave them. Get into purpose. If you're in purpose, you'll have some rough moments, like I'll have some rough moments, maybe some rough days here and there, but God will give you the grace. That means he will comfort your heart, and he'll give you the extra boost that you need to wait a little while longer until what he has comes to pass. It's worth the wait. I'll see you guys the next time God sends me back. Bye.